أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونشكره ونتوصل إليه ونتوكل عليه، ثم نصلي ونسلم على خير خلقه حافظ سره ومبلغ رسالاته سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين المنتخبين، سيما بقية الله في الأراضين، واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من يوم عداوتهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، قال الإمام علي بن الحسين زين العابدين عليه الصلاة والسلام: آيات القرآن خزائن، فكلما فتحت خزانة ينبغي لك أن تنظر ما فيها. The fourth Imam, Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salatu wassalam, said, the verses of Quran are treasures. And every time a treasure is opened up, it is desirable that you look at what is inside it. So according to the saying of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salatu wassalam, the Quran is the treasure which was given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when a person finds a treasure, obviously if it is in the box, he tries to open and tries to see what is in that treasure and what does that box contains. So the Quran is a treasure, and obviously it is the book of guidance. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that this is the guidance for the muttaqeen, for those who are basically trying to be muttaqi, and it is a guidance for them. And whoever tries to read Quran, tries to get guidance from the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving that guidance to him through the Quran. And also the Quran itself, as we know, is not enough for us. Obviously, we need Ahlul Bayt, we need the teachers, we need the guardians, we need the authorities that are set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who can explain us what is Quran and what does Quran basically is trying to teach us, or is trying to convey that message which is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So inshallah, now onwards, when we try to look at the Quran, let's try to think about the verses of the Quran. Let's try to ponder on the verses of the Quran, the messages that are given in the Quran, and even the verses that we usually recite in our daily prayers. Even if we can sit and ponder on those verses, on each and every verse that we recite during our daily prayers, if we can start from this, inshallah, we will be amongst those who are getting the guidance from this book, this holy book, inshallah. Today is our last session, and upon the end of the session, I am expecting a lot of questions from you all. Obviously, we have people from the Mafahim class, from the vocabulary class, and then we have new students as well who are joining the vocabulary classes, inshallah. And I think it's from next week, inshallah, the new classes will start. So I'm expecting a lot of questions regarding the recitation, the basic recitation, not the tajweed, obviously. If there is any question regarding the tajweed at the end of the session, if we have time, inshallah, I will answer those questions as well. But this is regarding the basic recitation, because we've seen, like, people when they try to recite Quran, they make some common mistakes. And the reason of conducting these crash courses, especially this crash course of recitation of Quran, was to get familiar again with the basic steps, with the basic rules that are related to the our recitation. And after that, just thinking about them, revising them. And those who don't know these rules, who are not aware of these rules, the basic rules, so they get aware of this. And then after this, the next step is to practice. And for practicing, even we said that you can listen to Khalil Hosri and try to divide your time into 3 different times in a day. For example, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the afternoon, and then the 5 minutes in the evening. And you're basically practicing the same verses that you did in the morning. You practice the same in the afternoon, and then in the evening you do the same thing. So by this, inshallah, within a week or two, you will see a big difference in your recitation, a big improvement, which we should say like it's an improvement in your recitation, inshallah. Now, moving on to the today's lesson, we're gonna start with the long vowels. And before this, in the second lecture, I believe in the second lecture, we talked about the short vowels, which were fatha, kasra, dhamma. And when we were talking about the short vowels, we said that the sound of fatha, to whom, like in Urdu and Persian, they say zabr or zabar. The sound of that is a for the light letters, but for the heavy letters, it is a. And the sound of dhamma, which is in Urdu and Persian, pish or pesh. The sound of dhamma is u, and the sound of kasra, which is called zir or zir as well, its sound is e, not a. So a, e, u. These were the 3 sounds for the short vowels. And on top of that, we added that the amount of stretching a fatha, kasra, dhamma, like the sound of a, e, u, on any letter, excuse me, whenever you see the fatha, kasra, dhamma on any letter, the amount that you can basically stretch that is, it should be only 1 second. The maximum amount should be 1 second. And after that, yesterday we talked about the sakina letter, that a sakina letter cannot be pronounced on its own. It should be connected with its preceded letter that has a movement. Now, this movement can be a fatha, kasra, dhamma, anything. And the sakina letter with its preceded letter, they both become 1 letter. Like na'budu, an, am, ta. There's a hamza with the fatha a, and then there's a noon in an'amta, noon with the sukoon, an amta. So this is how we basically pronounce. Now, today we're going to talk about the long vowels, and most of people, they commonly do mistake while pronouncing these long vowels. Either they make all the light letters heavy while pronouncing the long vowels, or they extra like stretch these long vowels. Inshallah, we'll talk about that. Now, what is the mad, basically long vowel or mad? In Arabic, the word mad, what does it mean? The mad itself means to stretch or to prolong the short vowels 2 times. So if you can make a note here, prolonging the short vowels were fatha, kasra, dhamma. So prolonging the short vowels 2 times. What does it mean? The short vowels, the amount of stretching the short vowels was 1 second. And we talked about the 1 second rule, if you guys remember. Now, when you do it 2 times, 1 multiplied by 2 should be 2 seconds. So let's keep this in our mind from now onwards in the beginning, that when we were pronouncing the short vowels, which was fatha, kasra, dhamma, we were stretching the maximum amount of stretching these short vowels was 1 second. Now, when we are moving towards the mad or the long vowels, the amount of stretching them, the maximum amount should be 2 seconds and not more than 2 seconds. It should not be 1 second. It should not be 2 seconds. More than 2 seconds. So it should be 2 seconds. So this is what we need to, inshallah, remember, that when we are talking about the long vowels, we are stretching them for 2 seconds, inshallah. So I'm just raising these signs from here, inshallah. And I'll write like short vowels were, I'll bring them here. There was a fatha, there was a kasra, there was a dhamma. So these were the short vowels. Whenever we had them on any letter, the maximum amount that we were stretching them was 1 second. Now, when we are talking about the mud, it should be stretched for 2 seconds. Now, what are the long vowels? Basically, long vowels look like this, something like this. So imagine that this is fatha. Obviously, here, if I write down here on top of this, this is fatha. This is our dhamma. And this one here is kasra. And you all know that this goes under the below the letter. So imagine that these are the letters basically. So there is a letter, it can be hamza, it can be ba, ta, tha, anything from. Now here, this bar, this black bar, it shows that there is a letter, it is a letter. And this letter can be from hamza till ya, any letter. So any letter which can be from hamza till ya. Same is the case here. So remember that the long vowels, when we talk about the long vowels or mad, we have a letter, any letter at this place over here, which has a fatha. And after that, if you see an alif, now this alif should not have any sign on top of it. If you see this is an alif, it does not have a fatha, it does not have a fatha, neither kasra nor dhamma, neither sukun, the sign of sukun, that is not also on this. Also, it does not have any hamza itself. If you guys remember, when I was explaining about the Arabic alphabets, I said in this letter, this is chair for this. So hamza is the actual letter which basically accepts fatha, kasra, dhamma. These movements, this is hamza. Hamza accepts fatha, hamza accepts dhamma, it accepts kasra, it accepts the sign of sukun. All right, so this is all about this hamza letter. All right, if it's too small, just let me know. So it is only about this hamza that accepts all these, you can say the short vowels basically, the movement, the harakat, the short vowels, the sound of a, e, u. Alif itself was a chair for this. Now, in the long vowels, when we are talking about the long vowels, we say a letter, which can be any letter from alif till ya, having a fatha. Right after that, if you see an alif without anything on it, so let me just write down here, alif without any vowel. All right, any vowel, or the sign of sukun. You can add the sign of sukun or shadda. Let me just bring a shadda here. So it does not have anything that we talk, like tanween as well. The fatha tanween, the kasra tanween, the dhamma tanween. So it does not contain any of these things. All right. So a fatha with an alif, and that alif, the characteristics of this alif is it does not have anything on it. This type of word, a letter, combination of two letters, like any letter with a fatha and then alif. This is called alif mad, because there is an alif after this. At the end, we see an alif, so we call it alif mad. All right. Now, same is the case with the dhamma. If you see any letter with the dhamma on top of it, and after that, if you see a waw without anything on it, this combination will be called waw mad. And on the third, obviously you can imagine that if the name of this combination was from the alif, we call it alif mad. This was waw mad. We will call this ya mad because of ya mad. All right. A ya which is prolonged, which is stretched, a waw which is stretched, an alif which is stretched. Now, what does it mean? Inshallah, we'll explain in the next slide. Now, types of mud letters, we said an alif sakina, the way I explained before, an alif sakina, the alif that has a sukoon. Sorry, an alif which does not have anything on it. So in this sakina, write down, it does not have, this sakina does not mean that it has a sign of sukoon. It means it does not have any sign on it. All right. And alif, let me change the wording. Alif without any vowel or sukoon. Sign of sukoon, basically. If I add the word sign of sukoon, we can add like tanween, without any tanween, without shadda. All right. So it does not have any sign on it. And alif without any vowel, like fatha, kasra, dhamma, sign of sukoon, tanween, shadda, preceded by any letter with a fatha on it. Preceded means the letter before it. This is called alif mad. So this is the first thing, first type of the mud letters. The second is, again, instead of this sakina, please write down what we've wrote here, like without any vowels, a waw without any vowels, like fatha, kasra, dhamma. You see, waw is without anything on it. Here we have this small waw. Here we have this small alif. So a waw without any sign on it, preceded by any letter with the dhamma on it, like this, lam here, we have a waw here. This is called waw mad. Similarly, a ya sakina, again, change the wording of sakina to that ya that does not have anything on it, preceded by any letter with the kasra under it, like here, this or this. Obviously, it's preceded. It is called a ya mad. Now, all right. I want you guys to pay attention. Obviously, in the previous slide, if you guys have seen, I tried to write down these three types of mud in three different colors. So the red one is alif mad, the blue one is waw mad, the green one is ya mad. So I just randomly, I selected these colors for this. There is no reason behind it. So you might ask, like, is this in the book or in the Quran or the color-coded Quran? No. I randomly, for these slides, I just selected these three different colors so that when we are talking about them one by one, so if you have the color in your mind and the name of the mud, so it will help you, inshallah. So the red one is alif mad, the blue one is waw mad, and the green is ya mad, inshallah. Same is the, like in the next slide, you can see the same color code that I used. The red one for the alif mad, blue for the waw mad, and green for the ya mad. Now, so there are three types of mud. Now, the point here is you might have seen written like this. Let me just write down here the examples. Dalika, we had Dawudu, a small wav. Dawudu, there's a dal, and ila fihim. Ila fihim. Now, What I want you guys to pay attention to is that you can see that here we have a regular alif, and then here we have a small alif. We usually have a regular waw, but here you're looking at a smaller waw. We usually have a ya, either this or this type of ya. All right, the small, like, obviously. But here there's a new shape of ya, which is this. All right. In I guess in Urdu language we have this, like, it is called a big ya. They have this in their language. In Persian text, they also use this ya. But in the Arabic text, they, like in the poetry, sometimes they use this ya. But usually those who have read the Quran, they might not have seen this ya. So remember that this is also a type of ya. Either it has two dots below it or without it. All right. It's written in both ways. Okay. Now, the only thing you need to pay attention is this type of ya, this type of wav, and this type of alif. So here we have three different types, the different shapes of alif, basically. The alif is gone smaller, the wav is gone smaller, like the ya is changed to this shape. I'll write this shape again. Either it's like this or like this. So I'm writing different shapes. So you can write down these shapes. Like if I go back to the previous slide, you see that the last at the bottom, the shape of ya. Yes. So inshallah, so this is this one, like the last one, like this, something like that. All right. So it is either like this or this. So get familiar with this shape and remember that this is ya. Okay. Now, in the Usman Taha script, like the signs which he added, he uses this sign only for yamad. For yamad. All right. And obviously the small wav is also used for the wav mad. And this small alif is used for the alif mad. Okay. So now we know that alif mad is written in two ways. Either we have a regular alif or the small one. The wav mad is written in two ways, either the regular wav or the small one. And the yamad is also, let me just write down here, yamad. Yamad is also written in two ways, either the regular ya big one or this one or this one. So for ya, you have three different shapes like this. Now we have these three shapes because yuridu, obviously this middle one is used whenever the ya comes in the middle of the sentence, in the middle of the word. And this one appears in the end, at the end. In the beginning, obviously, they try to use this one. Now, inshallah, we'll explain about this when we go to the next slide. Now, here we have some examples of long vowels. And these examples, basically, you can see we have like types. There are three types: alif mad, waw mad, and ya mad. If you see my cursor, if I'm moving it, please let me know. You can just type in the chat that you see my cursor. Yes or no. When I'm moving the cursor, the mouse. Yes. All right. Thank you. So types. Alif mad, the first type. Waw mad, the second type. Ya mad is the third. Now, in here in the table, obviously on the right side, you can see out of the table, we have here alif mad, waw mad, and ya mad. Now we want to give the examples. The examples depends when this alif mad or waw mad or ya mad appears in the beginning of the word. Whenever it appears in the beginning of the word, how it is been written, how do we write it? When it appears in the middle of the word, how it's been written, and at the end of the word. So we have three things basically. So when we are talking about the alif mad, waw mad, and ya mad, which are the long vowels, we are trying to look like when they appear in the beginning, how they're written, in the middle, and at the end. How do we write it? Now, here, if you see, if I just quickly change the color into something which is not here. Sorry. Okay. Now, for the alif, we have two examples. 1, 2. The difference is the top one is the regular alif, the one you know, the big alif. This is the regular one. All right. The bottom one is the small one. How does a small alif appears? Now, this example هذا, it's been like marked red wrongly. It should be like that should be marked red. This one. This is in the beginning, how it appears in the beginning. So you can see the difference. Like the examples are like, for example, the first row, if I talk about this one, the one on the top. Adamu. Now, we said that the long vowel is stretched twice the short vowel. The short vowels for the 1 second, like dha, ra, ba, na, sa, ra. Now here we have an alif med, and I need to stretch it. So I need to stretch it for like 2 seconds. Adamu, adamu. So it will be stretched for 2 seconds. Da for 1 second, and meme for 1 second. Adamu. Now we also talked about the hitting practice, like if someone hits the table like this, and while hitting the table, if I try to pronounce this, so for 2 beats, like for the when I'm basically hitting the table twice, in that time I should be pronouncing the a, and then after that da, and then mu for 1 hit. So it will be adamu, adamu. So it will be a continuous hit for like each second. In each second, if the person is hitting the table, like every second, in every second, for 2 seconds or for 2 hits, you should be pronouncing the basically the alif med, and then after that for the da and mu, it should be 1 second or 1 hit for each of them. So adamu, ka, wa'iba, ra'a, adamu, kawa'iba, ra'a. So I'm not stretching ra, ra'a. Now the common mistake that usually people do when they're reciting, because sometimes we don't know the word, and we don't know, or we are very slow in reading the Arabic phrases, in reading the Quranic phrases or the verses. So while saying ra'a, I might be looking at the next coming letters, that what are those letters, and then try to pronounce it. So in the same time, like, you know, when we think, we say we stretch, like we say and then we say, because we are thinking, this sound is telling that I'm thinking about something, and I want to say something which is in my mind, or maybe I'm looking for the word. In the recitation of Quran, the common mistake that people do is when they're reciting, they do this with the letters. For example, ra'a, they say ra'a. So they stretch ra unnecessarily. Why? Because they're looking at they're trying to figure out what is the next letter and how to pronounce it. For example, in the example of kawa'iba, if someone is thinking on ka, so he will do kawa'iba, or maybe kawa'iba. So he's trying to figure out what is the next letter after ain. So this should not be done while reciting. We said fatha, kasra, dhamma should be pronounced in 1 second, and these long vowels that we have, like alif med, we have waw med, and the ya med, this should be pronounced in 2 seconds. Now the reason you have 2 seconds is, if you ask me the logical reason for pronouncing this for 2 seconds. What is the logical reason? The reason is, if you see we have a Hamza with the Fatha, and we said we need to stretch it for 1 second. After that, you have an Alif which has the sound of as well, like Alif, Alif. Now here we have basically two sounds of next to each other. One is here and one for this Alif. So when you gather together, when you add them together, it becomes twice. It is multiplied to 2, basically. 2 sounds of alifs or as there. Same is the case with the wav. We have a dhamma which have a sound of wav like oo, plus a regular wav. So this was a dhamma, a regular wav. Wow, oo, wow, also has a sound of oo. So when we have two sounds next to each other, the sound is being pronounced like this, should be pronounced in 2 seconds. And the same cases with the ya. So when you have a ya, it's e. And even before that, if you have a kasra like e plus ya, ye. So they both become like, you should have a 2 second sound of e there. So this is the, you can say, logical answer to this, that why we pronounce it twice. Now, how we write it, people sometimes they cannot basically differentiate between the alif mad, waw mad, and ya mad. So see, there is a regular ain with an alif, like it's has a fatha and a small alif. So it is also for the second row. Now we're talking about the second row. This is also an alif mad. Abiduna, abiduna. If I'm stretching more than 2 seconds or do, it's only because I'm trying to explain you the pronunciation. Obviously, I'm teaching this. I'm not reciting. So when we are teaching, we sometimes stretch it more than like 2 seconds in order to, one, tell you that you need to stretch this. Number two, to make sure that you know the proper pronunciation. Now, one thing you guys need to remember, that in the light letters, the sound of fatha was a. When they come with an alif mad, the sound will be the same. You're going to have the same sound. You will have the same sound, all right? But you need to stretch it for 2 seconds. Same sound of a for 2 seconds. For the heavy letters, if we have any heavy letter, inshallah, we'll see if we can see any example in the Quran. For the heavy letters, the sound was a for the fatha. Like ra with the fatha was ra. If it has an alif mad, it will become ra for 2 seconds. So you only need to stretch that, and that's it. The sound of fatha will remain the same. The sound of dhamma will remain the same. The kasra will be the same. For the heavy letters, for the light letters, the only thing that you need to do is, whenever you see this type of alif, after a heavy letter, you will stretch that sound of fatha for 2 seconds. If you see this type of alif after a light letter, you will stretch the sound of fatha, which is on light letter, for 2 seconds. For the dhamma as well, the sound of dhamma was u, so you need to stretch it twice. The sound of ya, like e, kasra, you need to stretch it for 2 seconds. So that's all you need to do. So abiduna, I'm not making it abiduna. Abidun is wrong. Is the heavy. That wasn't for the ain. Ain was a light letter. Abiduna, a'tainaka, a'tainaka. So I'm pronouncing these two as one letter. Ya and ta as one letter, because they have a sukoon. We said they're pronounced with its preceded letter, becomes one letter. أعطيناك. So we are not stretching the ones which have a sukoon. أعطيناك إنا أعطيناك أعطيناك. So na, that's what you need to stretch. And the last example, obviously, they both have alif mad, so it will be هذا هذا هذا. All right. So this is how you, inshallah, will be pronouncing the alif mad. Now, talking about the waw mad, we also have like two ways of writing the wav mad. Whenever the waw appears in the beginning of the word, it's the same. We have the regular waw in both cases. Okay, so ulu, 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 ta'lamuna, 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 ulu. Now, in the examples for the smaller wav, being as the wav mad, we have utina. I stretched like all the three things, all the three letters. Why? They all three are basically mads. Utina, Dawudu, Dawudu, Dawudu. فَإِنَّهُ. Now, why am I stretching this noon with the shadda? There is a reason. Obviously, there is a rule in Arabic in the tajweed. Sorry, there is a rule in the tajweed that whenever you have a noon with the shadda and mim with the shadda, you need to hold it for 2 seconds and have a ghunna sound, a nasal sound. So that's why I'm prolonging or stretching this noon. فَإِنَّهُ, who is our example. Who. Now, for the yamad. For the yamad, again, we have examples, how they appear in the beginning, in the middle, at the end, and the smaller the other way of writing the yamad. So the first example is like dini, dini, dini. I'm not stretching noon with the kasra. Dal with the kasra and then the ya. Dini. Yuridu. Yuridu. Yahdi. There should be a sign of a sign of sukun on ha. Yahdi. 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 Now, the other way of writing the yamad, that's what you can see here, is this which is obviously something like this. So inshallah, pronouncing this ila fihim. So I'm stretching e and la, not fa and ha. Ila fihim, ila fihim. Ibrahim. Ra obviously has a mad, it's an alif mad here, and then himu is our example for the yamad. Ibrahim, Ibrahim. I'm not stretching ib and mu at the end. Ibrahim. So you can see the letter ra is a heavy letter. So for ra with the fatha was ra. Ra was the pronunciation. I'm only stretching the amount of like that, the sound, and I'm not doing anything else. Ibrahimu ayatihi, ayatihi. Now here, if you guys can notice that the letter ta is the only letter that does not have any mad with it, like the alif mad, wa mad, or ya mad. So I'm stretching the I'm stretching the ya, I'm stretching the he at the end, but not the ta. So pay attention towards the sound of ta here. Ayatihi, tihi, ayatihi. So ti is not being stretched. Why? Because it has a kasra. That is for 1 second. So inshallah, now onwards, when you will be inshallah pronouncing the alif mad or wav mad or ya mad, you should be considering that you should pronounce them in 2 seconds and not more than 2 seconds. That is the first thing. The second thing is when you are stretching the obviously fatha kasra dhamma, that should be for 1 second. Now, before I move on to the next slide, if you guys can see this example here and this example here, I will write these examples now on this page. just removing everything that we wrote here. So I'm about to write down these two examples. Now remember that we talked about ulu and ulu, these two examples. Explaining you about this because most of people also they commonly do this mistake. The first example was lu. There was a sign of this wavy sign, and the second example was lu. All right. Now, this wavy sign is called mad in the Arabic, obviously, language. So before this, we were talking about alif mad. So let me just write down here. Regarding the mads, we talked about the alif mad. We talked about the waw mad and ya mad. Now, and we said like an alif which has a fatha before it, a waw which has a dhamma before it, a ya which has a kasra before it. These were the alif mad, waw, and the ya mad. But this sign itself is called mad. Mad. We know that mad means to stretch or to prolong. This is the meaning of mad. Now, technically, if I open this thing, what do you see? You see a lam with the zamma, and there is a wav. So this is a wav mad. I see a wav mad here. What else do I see? I also see a sign of mad on top of this. Now, we said in the beginning that mad should be prolonged or stretched for 2 seconds. Mad should be stretched for 2 seconds. Now, what should I do? When we call this sign mad, so this should be stretched for 2 seconds. For 2 seconds. All right? That's what it means. Like the mad means prolonging, and the amount of like stretching it should be 2 seconds. Now, what's happening in this type of words where we have a wav mad? Maybe we can have an alif mad or a ya mad, no matter. We have a wav mad. After that, we have an additional mad. So I need to stretch this lam with the zamma and wav for 2 seconds. For 2 seconds, plus for this mad, I should be stretching the mad for 2 more seconds. So in total, I should be stretching this for 4 seconds. Technically talking, like logically, if we open this, you can see that this sign of mad is sitting on top of a wav mad. This is a wav mad, and it's sitting on the wav mad here. Hulu. All right? Here. I know that for the wav mad or alif mad or ya mad, I need to stretch that for 2 seconds. I talked about it, why to stretch it for 2 seconds. On top of that, I know the mad means to stretch, and this sign is called mad. And we said mad sign should always be stretched for 2 seconds. So I need to stretch this sign for 2 seconds as well. This sign tells me to stretch it for 2 more seconds, for 2 seconds. So 2 plus 2 becomes 4. That's why, you know, whenever in your Quran, when you were reading Quran, your teacher, whenever he used to show you this sign on the Quran, on any letter of the Quran, he used to tell you to stretch it for 4 to 6 seconds. 4 to 6 seconds. Usually they say 4 seconds. In some cases, we stretch it for 6 seconds. Inshallah, in the tajweed, you learn about this 6-second rule. But generally, most of the time, you're stretching it for 4 seconds. The basic reason of stretching that for 4 seconds was you are basically stretching the wav mad for 2 seconds, and then this mad sign for 2 seconds. Now, um, in the Quran, if you guys want to write this down, in the Quran, you will never see this sign, or maybe this sign like this. It can be anyway. This sign or this sign, you will never see them except they're on two things. Number one, long vowels. Long vowels. What are the long vowels? The alif mad, waw mad, ya mad. Or this is the first thing where you see this sign. The second place where you will see this sign is separated alphabets. Separated alphabets. Sorry, I'm just writing it this way. So separated alphabets means huruf muqatta'a. Those who know them as huruf muqatta'a, for example, we have the example Yasin. You will see this on top of Yasin, like Alif, Lam, Mim. Maybe on all of them, Alif, Lam, Mim. Or you will not see on Alif, like it's like this. You will see on top of Lam and top of Mim. So the only place you will see this sign of mad, the only and only place in the Quran, you will only find them either on top of alif mad, waw mad, and ya mad, or on top of the separated alphabets. Now let me take you to the Quran. I hope you all see Quran now. Inshallah, you all can see the Quran. Now in the Quran, if I can show you the example like here, وَطَائِفَةٌ وَطَائِفَ وَطَائِفَ. It's an alif mad. On top of alif mad, there is a sign of mad. So you need to stretch it more than 2 seconds. وَطَائِفَ. Now here we have an alif mad, adna. I stretch it for 2 seconds. Now, if I keep going on, you will never find this sign of mad on any regular like alphabet that has a fatha, kasra, dhamma, a sign of sukoon or something like that. Yeah, this is an alif mad. Yeah, with the small alif. And on top of small alif, you see the sign of mad here. Ya ayyuhal muddathir. Okay. So this is an alif mad. On top of that, you can see the sign of mad. Otherwise, you will not find the alif mad on anything else. Now, we have the example of alif again here. Inna hadha is an alif mad. On top of alif mad, you can see the sign of mad. The sign of mad does not appear on the fatha, kasra, dhamma or regular alphabets. It only appears on top of the alif mad, waw mad, ya mad, or the separated alphabets which we say huruf muqatta'a. Like here, malaika, malaika, ashab, ashab. This is alif mad. Ashab an-nar. Okay. Now, amanu, wow. On top of waw mad. I'm trying to see an example for the ya mad. If in these pages I can find any. Or maybe if you can see, yeah, like yatasa'alun again, this is alif mad. All right. And this always appears on the alif mad, waw mad, and ya mad. So these are the places basically where you will inshallah find the sign of mad. Other than that, you will never find this. La, it's an alif mad. La uqsimu. Ala, again, ala is an alif mad. Lam has a fatha, there is a small alif after that. On top of that, there is a sign of mad. So this is again an alif mad. And if I will talk about the, we can say like the huruf muqatta'a, you can find that yes, in the huruf muqatta'a, like we had alif, lam, mim. or we had the like alif lam ra. So here, if you see in Surah Al-Baqarah, alif lam mim. So you stretch this lam and mim for 4 seconds. Bima, again, it's an alif mad. Now moving on to the next page, here you will see like sawa, alif mad. So this sign of mad, remember, it never appears on any regular like letter that has a fatha, kasra, dhamma. It only appears on the mads like alif mad, wav mad, and ya mad. And apart from that, if it needs to come, it comes on top of the separated alphabets, which we usually call them like the huruf muqatta'a, the muqatta'a letters. So this is regarding the alif mad. Now, moving on to the next word that we have here. Let me just write this word again. The example was ulu. Ulu here. Ulu, I circled this one. If you remember, we said any letter with sign of zero on top of it, any letter with sign of zero on top of it means it's non-readable. It's a silent letter. It is silent. This letter is silent. Zero multiplied by anything becomes zero. So when you're reading this, do not stretch such thing. Why? Because this thing is non-readable. It's a silent letter. We don't read it. We ignore this letter. So that's why I'm stretching this hamza with the dhamma for 1 second. For 1 second. And not 2 seconds. But yes, I'm stretching this lam with the wav. Lam having a dhamma, after that there's a wav. So this is a wav, but for 2 seconds. For 2 seconds. Ulu, ulu, ulu. That's how we pronounce. So this is about this. So remember, like in ulu, we stretch ku for 2 seconds, and after that this lu for 4 seconds, either 4 to 6 seconds. That's you can do, inshallah. Ulu, ulu. Here, ulu. Again, qaf. Ulu. تعلمون أولو أوتينا داود فإنه ديني يريد يهدي إلى فيهم إبراهيم ayatihi. Sometimes in the Quran, you might find this sign of mad on top of this ya. And then there you need to, or you might find it like this. Ayatihi. Then you have to obviously stretch this ya with the, because there's a sign of mad. So you stretch that between 4 to 6 seconds. Ayatihi, if they both have the sign of mad. So this is about the long vowels. Now, here we have some examples. For example, like shayatinihim, shayatinihim, ta with the ya, you need to stretch it. Tinihim, shayatinihim. Again, here the example of alif, طغيانهم. طغيانهم. Now here we have the alif mad with the sign of mad, and lam, again there's an alif mad with the sign of mad. So I need to stretch it more than like 2 seconds. هؤلاء هؤلاء. That's how we pronounce. Now for the yamad we have the examples like للكافرين. I'm stretching ka, not fa. Ri, yes, because there is a yamad. For the kaf, there is an alif mad. Lil kafirina mithaqihi. Now, mi will be stretched, fa will be stretched, qaf not. He, yes. Mithaqihi. Now here, we have example of ya mad with the sign of mad on top of this. Yastahyi, yastahyi. So basically, it did not allow me to color this ya as green, but for like, if I can just draw this, it allows me to slowly like draw this. So you can have this like, this is ya. Um, I don't know if it's visible or not. So this is ya with the kasra, and then we have a ya mad after that. Yastahyi, yes is one letter. Yastahyi, yastahyi. Stretch it more than 2 seconds, between 4 to 6. So remember, for now, because you're learning the basic recitation, and so wherever you see the sign of mad on top of anything, like either it's on alif mad, on top of alif mad, if you see the sign of mad on top of a wav mad, let me write down the signs as well. Or if you see the sign of like mad on top of the ya mad, or it can be like this. Stretch it between 4 to 6 seconds. Do not make it 6 seconds. Stretch it between 4 to 6 seconds, so at least you're doing the minimum thing that is required. And inshallah, when you will learn when you will practice first and become good in recitation, and you go to the next level of tajweed, then you can inshallah learn where to stretch it for 6 seconds and where to stretch it for 4 seconds. But here, obviously, yastahyi is the example for the ya mad, how to stretch it. For the wav mad, again we have afatat, afatat ma'una, afatat ma'una, ta to, ta to. I'm not saying ta to. That is wrong. Ta is light. I will say it slowly, so you know how am I pronouncing it. A, fa, ta to, reaching to ta. Ta to, a, fa, ta to, ma'una. أفتطمعون. So I'm not making ma heavy, ta heavy, or fa heavy. Usually, when if you do not have, if you have not practiced the light letters and heavy letters, when you reach to such letters, such words to pronounce, usually people they like pronounce it like this. أفتطمعون. Because of this ta, they make this meme heavy, or because of this ta, they make ta heavy. So you need to practice a lot. Like, do it slowly first. أفتطمعون معونة أفتطمعون أفتطمعون. So that's how you can inshallah practice. موازينه. Nu, I did not stretch nu, but for rest, yes, because sorry, not ma as well. Wav with the alif mad, za with the ya mad, ha with the waw mad. موازينه فأكرمه 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 رمه. So if you see the way I'm pronouncing, you can see the difference of the like the sounds, how the sound changes when it's the basically the heavy letters or the light letters. Now, here is a common mistake that we usually see people doing when they're reciting the Quran. Now, I brought two verses from the same surah. It's Surah Al-Safat, and verse number 119 and verse number 126. So we have two verses here. In these two verses, I colored the last words of these verses as red. The only thing I want you guys to see and to understand is there is a difference between this lam and alif and this lam and alif. Here we have alif mad, Let me make a box and tick this box. Here, if I say, is there an alif med or not, let me cross this box. So here you have an alif med. Here you do not have any alif med here. The difference you can see, this hamza with the fatha is written in between these two pillars, you can say, like the lam and the alif. And here hamza is on top of alif. Now Arabs, what they do is, whenever they have a lam plus alif, they write it like this. They write lam like this, and then they join alif like this. Or you can write it the other way. It depends on you how you write it. If hamza sits in between them, it means there is a lam, there is a hamza with the fatha, and then there is an alif. So this hamza, after this, there is an alif. This is alif med. So we can say here we have an alif med. This is how they write. Like they write it like this. All right? This is lam, and this is alif somehow. Like in the writing, they have this. You cannot do anything with this. So if it's in the middle of these two, this lam and this alif, it is an alif med. But in this case, you see it is a lam. It is a lam. After that, there is an alif, and hamza is sitting on top of alif. The alif is chair for hamza here. If alif appears as a chair of hamza, this is only and only alif or hamza with the fatha, and that's it. So here you need to stretch this. You will recite it as وَتَرَكْنَا عَلَيْهِمَا فِي الْآخِرِينَ. آخِرِينَ. آخِرِينَ. And here, Allah ربكم ورب آبائكم الأولين. أولين. I'm not saying أولين. No, that is wrong. أولين. Why? You see the hamza. This hamza is on top of this alif. This is alif basically. Here hamza is in between lam and alif. It's in between. So pay attention while reciting. The common mistake that has been done by the people is that when they're reciting, they deal this as a normal alif, which is wrong. This is not normal alif. It is not fil akharin. Or maybe some people, what they do is they try to stretch this. They deal like they know that this is akharin because they hear it, they heard it from their teacher or when they were learning. And then when they reach to this word, they apply the same rule which was regarding this, and they stretch it unnecessarily and make it an alif med. So pay attention that in Quran, whenever you see hamza in middle of two things like the lam and alif, this is alif med. But if it appears on top of alif, on top of this one, the second pillar, it is a hamza. It is an alif, regular alif. There is no need to stretch it. So Allah ربكم ورب آبائكم الأولين وتركنا عليهما في الآخرين. آخرين. So this is an alif mad, inshallah. Now here we have Surah Al-Adiyat. As I said, I made different colors. Like for the alif mad, it's red. For the waw mad, it's blue. For the ya mad, it's green. So you can see this surah that وَالْعَادِيَاتِ ضَبْحًا. Obviously, we stretch it because we are finishing, like we are stopping here, making it an alif mad. So this is for the fathat, and we explained about it yesterday. فَالْمُورِيَاتِ قَدْحًا. فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ را. is a heavy letter. You just need to stretch it. راتي صبح فأثرن به نقعا فوسطن به جمعا إن الإنسان لربه لكنود وإنه على I couldn't make it red, so change the color, so I just underline. وإنه على ذلك لشهيد وإنه لحب الخير لشديد. So inshallah, let me quickly go to the tanzil.net and let's listen to Khalil Hosri how he recites this surah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعاديات ضبحا فالموريات قدحا فالمغيرات صبحا فأثرن به نقعا فوسطن به جمعا إن الإنسان لربه لكنود وإنه على ذلك لشهيد وإنه لحب الخير لشديد أفلا يعلم إذا بعثر ما في القبور وحصل ما في الصدور إن ربهم بهم يومئذ لخبير.
So here, if you have seen, like he's trying to basically stretch the only places where there is the alif mad, waw mad, and ya mad. Now, moving back onto our slide. So this is about the long vowels. Inshallah, we will try to apply these rules. The next topic that we need to discuss today is, which is very important also. It is Hamzatul Wasl. Hamzatul Wasl. We have two types of Hamza. This Hamza here, if you see the one in the red. Yesterday we had a question like, what is this alif that has a shape of dhamma on top of it? It is basically a shape of sad. Like this is wasl. All right. This has been taken from here, from the sad. Something like this, like on top of alif. This is called Hamzatul Wasl. Wasl means connecting. Wasl means connecting. Wasl. This word wasl means connecting. We have another Hamza, which is Hamzatul Qatta'. Let me just write down here, Qatta'. This Qatta', it can be written like this in Arabic. This Qatta' is a regular Hamza, like alif with the Hamza on top of it, either on top of it or below it. Because why it is Qatta' and why this is called like definite Hamza, Hamzatul Qatta', it's a definite Hamza. It's because it accepts Fatha, it accepts Dhamma, it accepts Kasra, it accepts the sign of Sukoon, Shadda, and everything. It all depends on this sign, this Hamza sign. All right. So we're not talking about this because we've talked about it. We talked about Fatha, Kasra, Dhamma, how to pronounce them. Now we reach to an Hamza, an Alif, which is called Hamzatul Wasl. Basically, Arabs, they say Hamza to Alif. So an Alif, which is Wasl, which is connecting. So here we have like the above Alif in red is called Hamzatul Wasl, like connecting Alif. You can write down like connecting Alif or Hamzatul Wasl. When it comes in the middle of a verse or sentence or a phrase, it is non-readable. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So I'm not reading these alifs here. It's in middle of a phrase, middle of a verse, middle of a sentence. So whenever it's in the middle of the verse, it's non-readable. That is the first rule. The second thing, what happens when it comes in the beginning of a verse? What to do? There are two things you need to do. One, in the case of noun, when starting with alif lam, so like alhamd is a noun. So whenever you see this hamza in the beginning of a word and it has come with the lam, so this alif should be accompanied with the lam. When it comes with the lam, read this alif with fatha. Alhamd. We read it as alhamdu. All right? Alhamdu. Now, what if it does not come with alif lam? Now, if it does not come with alif lam, either it's a verb or it's a noun without alif lam. In both cases, no matter whether it's a verb or a noun without alif lam, we need to see the next coming letter that has a movement, that has a harka, that has a vowel, like fatha, kasra, dhamma. If the next coming letter has a fatha or kasra, read this alif with kasra. And if the next coming letter has a dhamma, read this alif with the dhamma. Read this alif with the dhamma. Now, this will be more clear. Let me just write down here. So we talked about two rules basically. The rules were like in the case of noun with alif lam. In the case of verb or a noun without alif lam. So W-O like without alif lam. So this is one. There are like two cases. In the case of alif lam, for example, we have a word like this. In order to read this, we said we always give fatha to this temporarily to make it readable. Ar-Rahman. We say the word, it's like this. Allah. All right. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. We had the example here like here. I read it as Allah Rabbakum. Allah. I gave a fatha to this alif. Why? Because I need to make it readable. This is with alif lam. In case of verb, there are two rules. Now, in total, remember, in total, how many movements we have? We have a fatha, we have a kasra, and we have a dhamma. Fatha is only for this, whenever it comes with the alif lam. So in the case of verb or a noun without alif lam, we never use fatha. So the only two things that are left, like the kasra and dhamma, they should be used here. Now the problem is, we say whenever you see a verb or a noun without alif lam, for example, we have the verse like this, Surah Al-Hamd. I wrote it in the wrong place. All right. We have a word in the Quran like Surah Al-Hamd. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een. Now, what do we read? We read it as Ihdina. Why? The rule says in the case of verb or a noun without alif lam, if this thing, you need to look for the next coming letter. Like here, we see this alif is nothing. After that, we have a ha which has a sukun. After that, we see a letter dal here that has a kasra. If the next coming letter that has a movement has a kasra or fatha, you apply kasra to this alif. If the next coming letter has a dhamma, you apply the rule of dhamma. For example, we had a word now here we can see like the next coming letter that has a movement after this alif is this kha. It has a dhamma. So you temporarily will give a dhamma to this and make it readable. Udkhulu ihdina. Now, what about fatha, inshallah? We have examples. Let's go to the examples. Now, in the case of noun with the alif and lam, the examples are like in Surah Al-Hamd, we have alhamdu. We read it as Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو ربهم وأنهم إليه راجعون. الذين, we give fatha to this. Why? Because these alifs are with the lam, the alif and lam. Remember, alif and lam together. The noun is starting with alif and lam. So this is the first rule. The second, in the case of verb or noun without alif and lam, what do? Look at the next coming letter. If it has a fatha or kasra, give kasra. In this case, we see there's a kasra, so we give a kasra here. The next coming letter has a fatha, we give a kasra. The noun, ithnan is a noun, ibn is a noun. Ithnan means two. It has a fatha, give a kasra to this alif. The next coming letter that has a movement has dhamma, give dhamma to this alif. So remember, let's make it easy. The fatha is for alif lam. Alif plus lam. Dhamma is for a verb or a noun for which the next coming letter has a dhamma. For the rest, either it has a kasra or fatha, doesn't matter whatever it has. The only thing which is left is kasra. So you give kasra to that word. So we read it as اهدنا الصراط المستقيم اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى اثنان ذوى عدل منكم انظر كيف فضلنا بعضهم على بعض انظر على طعامك. To Hazrat Uzair in Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that look at your food. Like when he made him to sleep for 100 years, Allah is saying like unzur ala himarik, look at your the donkey, the animal that you had. Wa unzur ala ta'amik, look at your food that which you brought with yourself. So here unzur udkhuluha bisalamin aminin. For Hazrat Musa, we have this story in the Quran that when he tried to like enter the Wadi al-Muqaddas, when the revelation came on him, udkhuluha, enter with the peace. For the people like to the Jannah, Allah will say like udkhuluha, the angel will say udkhuluha bisalamin aminin. So you can enter with the peace in the paradise, in the Jannah. So these are the words. So how to read them, noun words. Please don't get confused while you have this. Before I go to Q&A, let me quickly go to the Quran again. I will open the Tanzil. For example, if I want to give you some examples, do we have this in the Quran? Can we, like in Surah Taha, if I open Surah Taha, next page. All right. So here, you will see here. Let me just make it a bit bigger for you so we can see the example like idhab ila idhab. Now here, if someone stops like أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم لنريك من آياتنا الكبرى. What to do? اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى. Now, after this, do we still have? Yes. In the same surah, we have other examples like here again, we have اذهب أنت وأخوك بآياتي ولا تنيا في ذكري اذهبا إلى فرعون إنه طغى. So these are the examples. For the udkhulu and undur, also we have examples. So these are the examples. So pay attention that don't get confused with this fatha on ha. Don't get confused with this. I'm telling you again, let me summarize this again, that let me summarize this again. In the case of Hamzatul Wasl, we are talking about the Hamzatul Wasl. Whenever it's in the middle of the phrase, we ignore it, we don't read it. Okay? Whenever it's in the beginning, remember we have three shapes of like three types of short vowels. We have a fatha, we have a dhamma, we have a kasra. The fatha is always used with the alif lam. for the nouns that are with the alif lam. Let me write down here, nouns. Noun with the alif lam. For the verbs, verbs are always without alif lam, plus noun which are like with no alif lam. I put a cross here, like with no alif lam, noun with no alif lam. For this, look at the next coming letter that has a movement. For example, let me just write down example. Look for the next coming letter. If the next coming letter has a dhamma, simply give dhamma to this alif. Carry this dhamma from here and give it to this. Borrow the dhamma from the kha. Unzur, another example. This is sukun. Borrow the dhamma, give it to this. So for fatha, the nouns with alif lam, like we had al-mulk, for example. So I will give a fatha to this alif lam. Mulk, al-mulk, for example. So fatha is for a noun with the alif lam. Dhamma is for a verb or a noun without alif lam, in which the next coming letter that has a movement, remember, the next coming letter that has a movement has dhamma, simply give dhamma. For the rest of the verbs and the nouns without alif lam, for the rest, which are not, like, which does not have a dhamma, for the rest, we give kasra. Now the rest is obviously anything with the either kasra or anything with the fatha. So the next coming letter either will have a kasra or will have a fatha. For these two cases, simply give kasra to this in order to make it readable, in order to make it pronounceable, in order to make it readable, so you can recite this. If someone says, I do not want to start from here, then connect these two verses. If you're connecting these two verses, then you need to ignore this alif as you were doing it generally, like when you were reciting other verses. Like it will be like this. وَاصْطَنَعْتُكَ لِنَفْسِي, and then لِنَفْسِي, you need to connect the sin of the لِنَفْسِي to the dal. وَاصْطَنَعْتُكَ لِنَفْسِي اذْهَبْ أنت وأخوك بآياتي ولا تنيا في ذكر اذهبا. Again, connecting ra with the dal. Okay, so this is how you need to read or pronounce these. For example, for this here was لنريك من آياتنا الكبرى اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى. Now, to make it more clear for all of you, let me go to Surah Al-Fatiha, which is the surah which everyone, obviously, we all have memorized it. We read it in our daily prayers. Surah Al-Hamd. I will recite Surah Al-Hamd without stopping at the end of the ayah, where we have these Hamzatul Wasl. Now see how I recite it. I will ignore all these alifs, like alif here, I will ignore this, I will ignore this, I will ignore the like ihdina, the alif of ihdina. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. So this is how you continuously read it. So basically, if you're connecting two verses, you need to ignore this alif, because in the way when it is connected, when it is in the middle of something that we are reading, we are saying, this alif should be ignored. But if I stop at the end of each ayah, then I need to apply the rule of Hamzatul Wasl, like Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم اهدي صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. So this is how basically you read these words, inshallah. Now I will open the room, inshallah, for the Q&A, and let me just quickly allow you guys to unmute yourselves. But before that, let me answer the questions that are in the chat first, and then after that, inshallah, I will take questions from on the mic, inshallah. So let me go through the questions first from the chat. So we have a question here. Obviously, there's a question. Can you please keep doing the same classes every month? We will give you the recordings. Obviously, the recordings will be available. You can see these recordings, inshallah. But after some time, whenever we have a break between two lessons or our lectures, because we have the vocabulary courses, for that we have designed this. So inshallah, let's see if Allah give us tawfiq. Can you do a tajweed crash course? Inshallah, we'll see that in future. If Allah give us life and tawfiq, then inshallah. This is my first class. Do you have recordings of? Yes, we have the recordings of the previous classes. Wiladat Hazrat Abu Talib, Mubarak, and Mubarak to you all as well. Surah, can you recite Surah Wailul Likulli Humazatil Lumaza, I think, and Surah Al-Shams. All right, at the end, inshallah, we'll go for Surah Wailul Likulli Humazatil Lumaza and Surah Al-Shams, inshallah. Salamun alaikum. Can you explain silent letters? All right. Sometimes I got confused between silent letters and long vowels, especially when Hamzatul Wasl comes in the middle. Jazakallah. Ahsantum. It's a nice question, inshallah. Let's go for this answer. Hamzatul Wasl and the silent letters. Let me go find out a page, an empty page, and I will explain, inshallah, about this. Okay. Now, let me write down here we have silent letters. We have it should be with the we, my mistake, vowels, and Hamza al-Wasl. Now, silent letters, we said, anything that has a zero on top of it. All right? Anything that has a zero on top of it, it's a silent letter, number one. Long vowels is... We have, for example, alif mad is any letter that has a fatha. After that, we have an alif without any sign on top of it. Or maybe it can have a mad sign on top of it. So this is a long vowel. For the wav mad, any letter with the dhamma, after that there's a wav without anything, or a waw with the sign of mad. A ya mad is like this, or maybe like this. Okay, so this is the long vowel. Hamzatul Wasl is always like this. All right. Now the problem is when you're connecting two things. For example, let me go to the Quran and give you example from the Quran. Now, for example, whenever we have something like we're connecting two words, the Hamzatul Wasl is non-readable in the middle of the verse. Now, if you look at this word here, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ اشْتَرَوُا الضَّلَالَةَ. Now here we have alif here is a silent letter. Obviously, we don't read it. Hamzatul Wasl is in the middle of the verse. We don't read it. This lam does not have anything. The problem is, we said this sad dhad. This dhad is a two identical letter. It has a dhad with the sukoon and a dhad with the fatha. For the letters that has a sukun on them, for example, yastahyi here, we said the sakina letter cannot be read unless until you connect it with its preceded letter that has a movement. So in order to pronounce this zad, I need to connect this with wav. When I connect this with wav, I will automatically ignore this lam here. And it will be read as أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة والضلالة أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى فما ربحت تجارتهم وما كانوا مهتدين. So the silent letters, you know that these are the alifs with the zero, the wav with the zero, these are the silent letters. Like ulaika, here wav is a silent letter. Alif, hamzatul wasl is non-readable when it's in the middle. If it's in the beginning like this, Allahu, I need to give a movement to this, and I explain how to give the movement. Apart from that, whenever we have a sakina letter after, like the second letter have a sukoon, and the one before it has a movement, but in between, if we have couple of letters like alifs or lams or anything, which have no sign on them, or maybe it might be an alif med, all right? For example, if I can find like here, it's a ya med, fil ardi here. Fi, technically I should stretch it for 2 seconds. But because of this lam that has a sukoon on top of it, I'm forced to connect this fa with the kasra to the lam and ignore this stretching of the fi. So I will no more stretch this. So it will become like وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. So I will ignore this ya. This ya will become silent temporarily for me. Why? Because this sign of sukoon has ordered me to connect the kasra of fa to the lam, which has a sukoon. So because it cannot be read. So we cannot have a thing like you stretch it like a mad, you need to stretch it and then connect it to something which has a sukoon. So these are the cases basically where we make the letters silent temporarily. But for yourself, just remember that anything that has a zero on top of it, according to, again, sorry. Remember which script we are talking about. Remember the script that we are talking about. It's my hand. Remember the script that is Uthman Taha. This rule is in Uthman Taha. You might find the word like this. Uthman Taha. The Quran that is like it. He is an Egyptian Qari who basically worked on the Qira'at of the Quran, on the recitation of Quran, and he came up with the signs that takes you back to the time of the Prophet. Like it's very closer. It's very close to the actual recitation. So this is the answer to that question, inshallah. Hopefully I've explained it. All right, so all right, can you read them normally? Can you, if you can write down like which part I can read normally? I will try to read the examples now, the verses without the tone, inshallah. Stretching of 2 seconds applies constantly to alif, lam, wav, and yamat. Yes, the question is, Brother Qamar asked, stretching of 2 seconds. It is for alif mad, wav mad, and yamat, for all of them. If you see a sign of mad on top of them, if you see a sign of mad, then you need to stretch them between 4 to 6 seconds. 4 to 6 seconds. Normally it is 2. Obviously, you see, like technically, that's what happening. Like if I like write down like this is an alif mad. You are stretching it for 2 seconds. But when you see an extra mad, obviously you need to add 2 more. And in some cases, obviously it is 6. So stretch it between 4 to 6 seconds. If you see this sign of mud on this, inshallah. This Quran text is very hard to read, not clear Arab. Well, the Pakistani script is more easy for you because you've been reading that Quran and you've been practicing that. And since you're like childhood, you might be like using the same Quran. So it depends. That is easier for you. But if you want to get to the actual recitation without having any trouble or problem, then obviously it's better to learn the other things as well. Because if you're traveling, for example, for the Hajj or maybe for the ziyarat, you might not find the Pakistani script, the writing there. You might find the other scripts, other way of writing. So it's good to know the different writings of the Quran, inshallah. Can you please explain why in the second and third example of the slide of Hamza Wasil, in case of verb or noun without alif and lam, why Basra is applied to the alif? Basra, what do you mean by Basra?
Sorry, that was an error, Maulana. Assalamu alaikum.
Kasra.
It's kasra.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah.
Kasra.
You talk about the movement, the next movement, right? So
Here.
this one,
Yes.
like if you look at the second example, id, ha,
Yes.
but I'm understanding just, so this is where I'm not understanding it, because the next movement is a ha, is a fatha.
All right.
And so
Okay.
you apply the kasra here, so I think I missed something here in terms
All right, be with me right here. I just wrote it here. I wrote the explanation. We have 3 types of movements. Obviously, these alifs, either we give them a fatha. Let me just remove this. Either we give them a fatha or a dhamma or a kasra. Yes or not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
One of these needs to be given. For the fatha, what did we say? It goes
Okay.
with the alif lam.
Right.
Yeah? All
Yes.
right. For the dhamma, it is said that look at the next coming letter, like here. If the next coming letter have a dhamma, as in this example,
Mm-hmm.
give dhamma to that. For example, here, I write down the example that we have here. On, this is sukun, dhur. Okay? So dhamma will be always given to a word for which the next coming letter has the movement of dhamma. For the rest, what is left? We talked about the fatha. We talked about the dhamma. What is left? Sorry. For the verb. In the verb, we have a fatha and kasra left. Like these examples. The next coming letter, if the next coming letter in the case of verb and without alif lam, if it has a dhamma, give dhamma to that.
Yes.
Like here we give dhamma. For the rest, either it has a fatha or kasra, no matters, whatever it has.
Got it.
You will always give kasra to them.
Yes. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
So you only need to remember this dhamma here.
Yeah.
For the verbs, like in case of verb and nouns without alif lam, we still need to give them like 3 movements. Okay. Fatha is only for the nouns. In these cases, the next coming letter, if these have a dhamma, we give dhamma. Otherwise, for the rest is kasra.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Maulana. That explains it.
Now, so we can keep reading, ignoring the ayah sign. Yes, you can read this. You can connect 2 verses if it means like the question is, if you mean like ignoring the end of the ayah sign, like 1, 2, 3, this numbering, you can continuously read the verses by connecting them. And you might have seen like Abdul Basit and other qaris, when they read in a place we have this member, so they read it this way, the small verses, they connect all of them together. Yarmalun, inshallah. Yarmalun and wali. What is wali? If you can explain me about this word. It's brother or sister. Sorry. Salam, will you have time to talk about Yarmalun and wali? What is wali?
Maulana, I guess they mean waw, alif, lam, and ya. That's not my question, but I know they call it wali, and those are the letters.
Waw, alif, and ya. That is huruf illa.
Waw, alif, lam, and ya.
Waw, alif, lam, and ya.
Yes, sir.
What about waw, alif, and lam, and ya?
Okay, those are called huruf of wali. This is not my question actually,
Okay.
but
All
I
right.
know that when we get to those letters, that there are some rulings going on. They need those rulings.
So yarmalun. All right. Inshallah, we'll talk about yarmalun. I'll just write down here. Yarmalun. Wali. I didn't got this question. Wali. All right. How do we end an ayah that has a shadda at the end of ayah? Yesterday we explained tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab. You stress on the last letter that has a shadda in order to show there are two identical letters there. Tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab. So you stress. ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب. So I'm not stressing on the next verse. So in Surah Al-Masad, you will find this example. You need to stress more in order to show that there are two identical letters or there's a shadda at the end of the ayah. What is waqf means and sad? Let me just write down here. Waqf and sad. Sad is same as Sola. I don't know if you were in the class when we talked about the Sola.
Yeah.
Waqf is like. Was there a question? Sola. Sad is Sola. Waqf is like stopping or making a waqf. Temporarily, you can breathe. So this is waqf basically. This is not lazim. This is not necessary to do. But instead we have a meme like this. A meme like this. This is waqf lazim, which is like you must stop when you reach to such a verse. For example, let me just go again to the Quran in order to show the example. So for example, if I go to am I not seeing the surah or the one just I have in my mind? All right. This is Surah Al-Yasin. In the last page, you will find a meme. Now it depends which Qari, Quran, what am I looking at? In Usman Taha's Quran, when you go to the page, it's on the same page, so you can simply find the example. But here, obviously, you need to.
How about بل ران على قلوبهم?
Bal rana is seen. That is seen. Bal rana ala qulubihim. That is seen, which is you suck. Suck means like to stop for a while, and then you can go. واتخذوا فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم. Here there should be a meme. I don't know why it's not here. فلا يحزنك قولهم. There is a like we have a waqf lazim here, but this tanzil, I need to try different like here to see if they are putting this or not. These are the problems with the Qur'ans that we have.
Yes, in Surah Yasin, قولهم, it does have
yeah,
a meme.
قولهم, there should be
Yeah,
a meme.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does have a meme.
There is a waqf al-lazim, but here this is not. Let me go to the other Quran. Okay. Like this is Usman Daha's Quran, Surah Al-Safat, and one page before it. Here we have this, inshallah. You can see here. Here, فَلَا يَهْزُنْكَ قَوْلُهُمْ. There's a meme. This meme is waqf al-lazim. You must stop here. So you will find this in the other Qurans as well. And there is a sign sola here, which means it is better to continue. This sola means it is better to continue. So this meme, فَلَا يَهْزُنْكَ قَوْلُهُمْ إِنَّا نَعْلَمُ مَا يُسِرُّونَ وَمَا يُعْلِنُونَ. So we stop here. It is a stop, like you must stop here. Sola means it's better to continue and not to stop. And we have like qaf or qula as well. So in the Quran, if you have seen the sad, that means sola. Waqf means temporary. Temporary stop. Waqf. And also we have seen, like we had the verse bal, and then there is a sin, bal rana ala qulubihim. So here you just stop for a while. Bal rana, and you do not like connect or you keep like reciting as there is no stop. So you slightly make a stop here because of this scene, and then you continue reading, inshallah. So, all right. Now, what is the difference in the pronunciation between dhal and dha? Now, again, you need to tell me, like, what do you mean by the dal, dhal, dhal? We explained it yesterday as well. You touch your, the edge of your tongue to the top teeth. Dhal, za. Za is like your tongue is in air. If you're talking about this za and this dhal. Dhal,
Yes,
za.
these two.
This is pronounced as sin, and this is pronounced as this tha, dhal, tha. Sin, z, zal, za. Waqf means total stop. No, waqf, wherever you have, yes, you stop there. Waqf means total stop, but it is not necessary. It's not like lazim. The meme tells you that it is a necessary stop. You must stop there. There's a word, like there's a command. You must, it's necessary to stop. In waqf or qif, it is sometimes written as waqf, or sometimes they write down like only qif in some Qurans. It means to stop. You need to stop. You can stop here. So it is allowed to stop there. Jim means either it's 50-50. You want to stop, you can stop. You want to continue, you can continue. So there is no difference. It's 50-50. Sola means 70% continue, and 30% you can make a stop. Qula, or if you have qaf, this means 70% stop, and 30% means you can keep reading or continue reciting, inshallah. All right, we will have the oral questions on the mic at the end of this. I have like a couple of questions left, like here. I went for a long vowels slide. You were reading slowly for us. Okay. Okay. I know what ikhfa is. If you can tell how to do ikhfa. Ikhfa, again, it's a tajweed rule. Ikhfa. I will explain you, inshallah. So these are the tajweed. We'll answer at the end how to take sound, correctly. For example, inna anzalna, inshallah. What is qalqala? Again, qalqala, qalqala. Tajweed, inshallah, at the end. So we go one by one. Where can we find these lectures? So these lectures are on the, I think Brother Hassan Mirza can answer like where they are available, or they can share the link. So the questions on the chat is finished. It's ended. So let me just answer these ones. Before this, if there is any question regarding the lectures that we have, not the tajweed ones, the basic. If you have some questions like Brother Mirza said, you can ask them. Otherwise, I will go towards these answers, inshallah. Okay. Yarmaloon, what is Yarmaloon? So Yarmaloon, Wali, I still didn't get the Wali question. What does it mean? Yarmaloon. Ya, Ra, Mim, Waw, Lam, and Noon. There are 6 letters, Yarmaloon. Amongst these, this one and this one, these two, they're divided in 2 groups. Yarmaloon are the letters. Whenever we have a noon without anything, or with the sukoon, or it can be noon without anything, or we have a tanween, like this shape of tanween in the Quran. Usman Taha script. Whenever we have any of these letters after them, we merge noon into these letters. So remember, whenever you find any of these letters, Ya, Ra, Mim, Waw, Lam, and Noon, after a Noon is Sakina, or this Sakina letter does not appear, obviously, this is this one. After a Noon is Sakina and Tanween, because Tanween has a Noon Sakina at the end. It has a sound of Noon, N, In, Un at the end. Whenever you find any of these letters after this, we merge Noon into these letters. Okay? Example. Min nutfatin. Here we have an example. Min nutfatin. I'm ignoring this noon. I'm merging this noon. And this noon has a, as you're giving a shadda to this noon. Khasi mubin. I'm not pronouncing noon anymore. Mim with the dhamma. Instead of the last noon, I'm pronouncing mim. I'm merging the noon into mim. Khasi mubin. Like if I connect these two, inna ilahakum lawahidur rabbu, lawahidur rabbus samawat. So I will not pronounce like lawahidun rabbu. So I will directly like merge the noon into ra and then pronounce the ra. Lawahidur rabbus samawati wal ardi wa ma baynahuma wa rabbul mashariq. So this is how basically we merge this. Now, bizinati nil kawakib, here you need to apply the sakina rule, 2 sakinas next to each other. So be careful while you're pronouncing this. So Yarmaloon is them. For the Yarmaloon, amongst the Yarmaloon, the Ra and Lam will not have gunna. Will not have gunna. For example, if I give a shadda, it's like you can give a shadda. Milladunka, milladunka, millad. I'm clearly pronouncing lam. Milladunka. Mir Rabbi. I'm not pronouncing noon. But for the ya, mim, wav, and noon, you will have a gunna, a nasal sound. Like for the nasal sound, we say like hold your nose and try to pronounce. وَمِنَ sorry, this noon has a fatha, sorry. There should be like let's take example from here. Sorry. مَنْ يَقُولُ. Here is the example. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ having another sound. مَنْ both are the same. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَبِالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. آخِرِ. If you guys remember, this Hamza is appeared between the Alif and Lam. So it's between the Lam and Alif. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ. So the Noon will be merged into the Ya. So in Yarmalun, basically we merge the things into this. Wali, brother, if you can explain me what is this? Like you're saying, this is a rule about the Wav, Alif, Lam, and Ya. If this is, I don't know, what is it about? This Lam or Alif or Wav or Ya. In the Tajweed, we don't have a rule of Wali. If you can type.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
The wow lin and the ya lin. It's a fatha on wow with wow, and it's alif with ya sukun. It's the ow sound or the a sound.
Okay, so it's not wav alif lam ya. All right, this is the sound basically. We know that the waw has a sound of u. And after that, if we have a ya with the sukun, waw with the fatha and ya with the sukun, wai, the sound should be like wa, e. You need to come to this. Wailul likulli humazatil lumaza. Wailul likulli humazatil lumaza. Similarly, like we have a sound of like fatha with the ya, like غير المغضوب عليهم. So this is the example how you pronounce it. So you need to come to the ya. And we have Maliki Yawmiddin. In the Surah Al-Hamd, we have Yawmiddin. The way like, you know, the sound of usually the teachers, they say like how the cats, like they make sound. Meow. So Yawmiddin. So ya with the fatha and wav. So these are the reverse basically. Wav and ya are reverse of each other. U and e are different. So how to reach it? Obviously you need to come like wai lulli kulli humazatin. Yaw. Don't say yawmiddin. Yo is wrong. Ya u yaw middin. That's how we basically pronounce. Now, ikhfa and qalqala. Let me quickly raise this. We have only ikhfa and qalqala here. Ikhfa means to hide. I'm adding this to the definition. Hide. Hide through nose, like into nose, through gunna. Ikhfa. We have a couple of words like we have yarmalun. We have the throat letters. We have letter ba. Apart from these ones, there are 15 letters left, I guess. For these 15 letters, we apply the rule of ikhfa. Okay. In ikhfa, what you do is usually you hide the noon. You pronounce the noon through the nose and try to take yourself to the level where you're pronouncing, to the place, to the origin where you pronounce the other letter. Okay. Like here, we have this example. Again, these should be discussed like in detail in tajweed with the practice. Like their own, their home, that the dal is pronounced from here, the. So I need to do ikhfa here. For that, I need to take this noon with the ghunna sound to the place where I get ready to pronounce the. So for each letter which is after noon, this sound changes, the sound of ikhfa. أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. Now again, if I have any other example, inshallah, for letter qaf especially, because qaf is a heavy letter, so this will be more clear for you. So in ikhfa, basically we hide noon and we pronounce it through nose, and we try to hide it and go to the place where from where we pronounce the next coming letter.
Mulana, are we done? I had the questions.
Yes, just a minute. Let me just explain this. Kulli shay'in here. Here we have like inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. There's a noon. So there's a qaf. Qa. Qa is pronounced through the like upper part of throat. So I will be pronouncing like inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. So when I'm doing ikhfa, I'm hiding noon. I will pronounce it through nose, and I will try to reach to the origin of the next letter. Kulli shay'in qadir. That's how we usually pronounce. So ikhfa and qalqala is the last, brother. Sorry, we had a question about qalqala. So we have basically qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal. There are 5 letters. When they have a sukoon, or if they are at the end of the ayah, when we apply sukoon on them, we read them, but for the listeners, they don't listen to it. It's non-listenable for them. Like we have like tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab, or Suratul Falaq. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq min sharri ma khalaq. I'm saying qaf, but you're not hearing the pronunciation of qaf at the end. So what I need to do is I need to pronounce it separately, like قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق. So you know that this is qaf. So whenever they have a sukoon on top of them, or they are at the end of the ayah where we apply sukoon, they become non-listenable, non-hearable. I need to make them listenable for the listeners. So that's what we usually do, inshallah. Yes, brother. We are done with
Maulana, first of all, I mean the fact about that we have silent letters in Arabic in the Quran. Do we have this in the regular language also, when written in Arabic, or
regular
is it only for
Arabic
the Quran?
language? Yes, yes. Whenever they write, for example, nasaru. They have this. This is the plural. Okay. Ya'lamun. For example, like alima, alimu. Nasaru, they 3 people or more than them, like 3 or more than 3 people, or the men helped. This is what it means. Okay. So here this alif is sign of this alif at the end, which is silent. It tells us that the wav before it is a wav of plural. So this is a sign basically.
What is the logic behind having silent letters?
Well, tell me about this. If I'm writing this right.
Yeah, psychology. Okay. Okay.
What's the idea of this P there?
Yeah.
You don't read it. We have this in every language.
Right,
Almost in all the languages, we have this. All right. So we cannot say like, why do we have? What is the logic? It's by the obviously the natives. They used it. They write it like this. They made these signs, so we cannot question them.
Right. And my request for the surahs that I was requesting, Maulana.
Surah for
The Surah Wailul Likumazat,
وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ حَمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ. Hold on. Let me
and
just go on to the.
Surah Shams and Surah Izaja.
Okay. So what you want to know about this?
Now, Wailul, there's if you go to
Can
the
you ask
Surah.
the question? What? Yeah, this is the surah.
Yeah.
Let me just change the. Sorry. The way it is written. All right. So what's the question here?
So here, Wailul, the first part you did talk about, so that is fine. The fourth ayat.
كلا لينبذن في الحطمة.
Zanna Hotam. Okay.
كلا لينبذن ذن في الحطمة حطمة.
Yeah. So here the meme is it like Yumbazanna or you have to?
I said yesterday that the noon that has a sukun or the tanween, after that, if letter ba comes, this noon or meme changes to this noon, or the tanween changes to meme. So this meme is telling us that there is a letter ba after this noon is sakina.
Okay.
So
yeah.
basically it's changing. It's iqlab. In the tajweed we have a rule of iqlab, changing the noon into meme.
Okay.
It's because of letter ba.
Yeah. Can we go to Surah Shams?
Surah Al-Shams. Yes.
Yeah. Here, ayah number. Okay.
Which ayah?
I forget. I'm just looking for the.
Is it about the meme again?
No, not about the meme. Yeah, the ayah number 14.
Yes. Okay.
كذبوا فأخروها.
فكذبوه فعقروها. This is Ain.
Yeah.
فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها.
Yeah. Okay. And lastly, the Surah Izaja.
Surah Al-Nasr.
Yeah.
Surah Izaja is Surah
Al-Nasr.
Yes. Yes, brother. Here we have Surah Al-Nasr.
Yeah. Here, the second ayat. Waraya.
Wara. Now, you pronounce it. This is wa. This is
Waraya.
What is this?
It's a silent.
No. This is not silent.
Oh, yeah.
What is this?
Waraya.
No. Do one by one. Wa, ra. After ra, what do we have here? We have a. You need to connect a with ya. A.
Okay.
Ra, ay. Wa ra'ayta an-nasa.
Ra'ayta an-nasa.
Ra'ayta means to see. Ra'ayta.
Yeah.
You saw.
Yeah.
Wa ra'ayta. So break it. Break the letters. Don't try to pronounce them all together. Wa, ra, and then I have a and then ya. Ay, wa, ra, ay, tan, nasa.
Yeah. Thank you, Walana. This is it.
Welcome, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah, about the third ayah of the Surah Masad. Like when we say fasabbih bihamdi rabbika wastaghfirhu or wastaghfir.
Surah
The same,
Al-Masad.
not Surah Masad, not the same. Surah Nasr.
Surah Al-Nasr. فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا. Now, if there is a sign there, usually this Quran here is not showing the sign.
Yeah,
on
usually
Surah
there is
Al-Nas, yes.
top on. Yeah.
Let me just go to the proper Quran that we have here.
So reading both ways is correct, right?
Yes, there is a jim there. Basically, Jim says 50-50. If you want to stop, you can stop. If you want to continue, you can continue. So you can read it like فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرْهُ. You need to have the sound of ha at the end. وَاسْتَغْفِرْهُ. Usually people, when they stop, they ignore this ha. They say وَاسْتَغْفِرْ.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Is وَاسْتَغْفِرْهُ. There's a ha at the end.
Okay.
إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا. If you cannot do this, then please read it continuously. Like read it till end. فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرْهُ إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا.
Jazakallah. That was my question.
Welcome. Inshallah. Inshallah, this was the last session, and hope I was able to convey the proper way of recitation and the tawfiq that Allah has given us, inshallah. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us more tawfiq, inshallah. I have read some of the messages about the Surah Al-Fatiha for I need to just go again to see. It was for someone who passed away. Maulana Talib Johari. I don't know if I heard that he was sick, but just recite a Surah Fatiha for, at the end, inshallah, we will be reciting. Just pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah cure all the people who are ill, either due to this coronavirus or due to other reasons. May Allah give us tawfiq to understand the teachings of Quran and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wassalam, inshallah. And may Allah give us tawfiq to apply all these teachings in our life and to practically be living our life in His path, inshallah. May Allah give us tawfiq to learn more, inshallah. And may Allah give us tawfiq to be with the Imam of the time when he will reappear. May Allah hasten his reappearance, inshallah, and keep us amongst his companions. Thank you very much for joining the classes, inshallah. And please recite Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Al-Ikhlas for all the marhumin and marhumat, especially for those who, the brothers and sisters who have asked. Please include your own relatives, the forefathers who passed away, your friends, your family members, your neighbors, the mu'mineen and mu'minat, and those even for whom there is no one to pray anymore. So inshallah, including all those, we will be reciting Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Al-Ikhlas. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات إنك على كل شيء قدير. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.